Why are trans fats bad? Coming right up. Hey, I'm Dr. Ekberg with Wellness for Life, and if you like to truly master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss anything. So I did a couple of videos on what trans fats are and how to read labels to avoid them, but here we're going to talk about what do they really do? What are the side effects? What do they cause so that you understand how important it is to avoid these things? So first of all, how are they made? Well, it's a very unnatural process. They start with a liquid oil that has already been processed from soybeans or safflower or canola or something to make it liquid and tasteless and odorless. But then they add high pressure, they add high temperature, and these are very, very high pressures and temperatures. And we know high temperatures destroy oils. Then they inject hydrogen gas in the presence of a metal catalyst, such as nickel. And working with nutrition response testing, I can't tell you how often people come in with metal sensitivities, and nickel being one of the top sensitivities that we see. So metal is not something that we want to add to our food. Some of the diseases that are associated that have been found correlated, cardiovascular disease, heart disease. So trans fats, they increase the LDL, they decrease the HDL, and they increase triglycerides. So all of the markers, these aren't bad in themselves, but they're markers of health problems. And trans fats worsen every one of them, and it worsens all the ratios, all the risk ratios as far as evaluating cardiovascular risk. Pregnancy, it's been shown to increase preeclampsia and gestational diabetes. That means the blood pressure that mothers get during pregnancy and the diabetes, the blood sugar spikes that they get, have all been associated with trans fats. The length of the pregnancy, they tend to deliver sooner, resulting in more prematurely born babies. And these trans fats, they compete with the body's long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids. That's a big name for the fish oil types of essential fatty acids, the EPA and the DHA that we have in the body. So the EPA is anti-inflammatory, the DHA is maybe the most important building block for the retina and the central nervous system. So if the baby is developing and the nervous system is growing at an incredible rate, it has to have a lot of this DHA, and trans fats compete with it, interfering with the proper formation of the central nervous system and the retina for vision. It's been associated with diabetes. Trans fats increase insulin resistance and thereby type 2 diabetes. It's been correlated to increased allergies and also to breast cancer. And it does this by 3 different mechanisms that influence all of the others combined. So there's a lot of overlap. These are not separate conditions. Trans fats interfere with the body in its most fundamental mechanisms. So it alters immune responses. Cancer is an immune condition. It alters the cell wall integrity. And this is huge because everything the nervous system does, everything that every cell does, depends on the integrity of that cell membrane. Every cell is an enclosed entity and the membrane decides what gets to come in and what goes out. So if we compromise that cell wall integrity, now the brain can't signal properly, the cells can't do their job properly because they can't regulate as tightly what comes in and what goes out. It alters the prostaglandin synthesis and balance. So prostaglandins are chemical messengers that are involved with regulation of inflammation. So inflammation isn't a bad thing. There's a time to increase and there's a time to decrease inflammation, and the body knows how to regulate that, but the trans fats mess with that ability and that balance. And trans fats selectively stimulate the pro-inflammatory prostaglandins. And every degenerative disease that we know has a low-grade chronic inflammation at its foundation. So why is there so much controversy about fat? Okay, it's the food source that has been the most demonized of any food out there. And everyone has an opinion. Is it sugar that's bad? Is it fat that's bad? And the controversy goes on and on. Here's what it's all about, in my opinion, that everything bad that we have gotten the idea that fat causes is because we have been eating man-made fats. Since we started making margarine 50, 70, 80 years ago, and they become part of mainstream, and we ate more and more man-made fats and trans fats, we got sicker and sicker and sicker, and we didn't differentiate between natural fats and man-made fats. We just called it fats, and we created this idea that fats are bad, when in effect, it is man-made fats that are bad, and the trans fats is the icing on the cake in the worst kind of way. Everyone today agrees this is as bad or worse than processed sugar. This is a poison, it's a toxin. It's up there with lead and pesticides and artificial sweeteners. So in 2006, the government started requiring labeling. And we talked about that in another video, but all they're saying is if it has less than half a gram of trans fats per serving, and you can make the serving tiny, 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 then you can label the product 0 grams of trans fat. So we have all these products that have up to 10% trans fats. They're riddled with this nasty stuff, and they still get to put a big fat 0 on the package. So even today, even though they have basically tried to ban trans fats, the processed food industry is always working to sneak around the rules. So today we still have, according to the FDA, 95% of cookies have trans fats in them, 80% of frozen breakfasts, it says desserts should be breakfasts, 75% of snacks and chips, 70% of cake mixes, 50% of cereals. And you know those health foods that you serve your kids for breakfast, the best way to start your day, 50% of those have trans fats in them. So everyone knows that it's a problem, but what do they do about it? So they turn their hope to science, hoping that science will once more come to the rescue. And what does science do? Well, they go and try to modify the hydrogenation process. So they're playing with the components, the pressure and the temperature and the gas and the metals to see if they can play with these variables to create less trans fats. And there's a process called enesterification where they try to put together the way the triglycerides fit together, they try to alter that. And then they try to genetically modify. They start playing with the genetics of the soybean oil and the sunflower seeds to see if they can create an oil that is already more solid from the beginning. Really? Seriously? So you have a frankenfood that causes death and destruction, and your solution is to make more frankenfoods? Have we learned nothing? Nature makes the perfect food. We don't have to mess with it. Show me one time where science has created a new food, has altered a food at the chemical level, at the molecular level, and created a healthier food. Has never happened, and it is my opinion that it will never happen because we're working in the wrong arena. Let the scientists make better cars and smarter cell phones and better computers, but don't think that they can mess with biology. We have no knowledge of biology at that level to start messing with it. If science learns how to make a living cell, show me how to make a living cell and I'll start paying attention. I'll start giving them some credit and saying, okay, maybe you can start playing now. But until that time, they better stay out of it. So what you can do is stop spending your money. If you don't buy it, they won't make it. Okay? So what is the solution? What's the real solution? Buy whole food, buy natural food, buy butter, grass-fed butter, buy coconut oil, buy extra virgin olive oil. Stick with the things that Mother Nature has already produced for us, and you'll be in good hands. So learn how to select the good foods. If it says partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated, it has trans fats, no matter how big the zero is on the front of the box. Learn this stuff and teach it to others so you can save your life and theirs. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that we can keep this information coming your way. And as always, thanks for watching.